All right, class, welcome to week number 4. That is right, week number 4 of your 7305 class, which is your foundations class. As always, I am your professor, Dr. Jace Austin, and this check-in video is going to seriously be short this time. I know I say that and then never deliver, but this time around, yes, we're going to keep it short because just as you completed your annotated bibliographies, you do have a literature review due this coming Sunday. And so I want to give you all ample time to address the literature review assignment that you are going to be doing. So yes, this check-in video is going to be under 10 minutes. Going to tell you how well or not well the class seems to be doing overall, then point you to a few things that are relevant to this week's discussion. Of course, these things are going to be optional, but they might be things that you want to review as you have interest in the subject matter related to your library school education and your library employment futures. So we are going to take a look at those things after I say a few things about the status of the class and how you all are doing in it. And then we are going to go about our weeks, me grading annotated bibliographies, you all working on literature reviews. We will keep this particular video under 10 minutes, I promise. So let's get into things right now. Pause the video for me. Okay, the first thing that I wanted to do was let you all know that, again, you are doing very, very well in the discussion post. I did not have as many people miss their response post to a classmate this past week in week 3 as they did in week 2. So that is good news. We are catching up and catching on to what is expected in this course, which is exactly what I wanted of you all. And for the most part, yes, for the most part, it seems like I've gotten most of the annotated bibliographies on time. Now, there are a few of you who have not turned it in and also did not email me prior to the due date to let me know why you would be late. So for you all, I am a little concerned. And since you all are grad students, I am not going to be running after you, asking you for things. Please turn things in. At this point, you are subject to a late penalty if you have not turned in your annotated bibliography and you have not reached out to me to explain why, or if your excuse was not good enough. But otherwise, yes, be ready to tackle this this literature review assignment, which will draw on the work that you did for your annotated bibliography. So you've got the guidelines here as you go into assignment 3. Didn't mean to do that. Check out those guidelines. They won't take you too long to get through. And this should hopefully make clear part of the research process to you. So when you are reviewing scholarly research, one thing you are going to be doing a lot of is reviewing literature and making literature reviews in order to identify a research question. So the annotated bibliography was to kind of get you all in the habit of looking for literature and deciding how the literature you have found is relevant to the topic that you are exploring. Now with the literature review assignment, we've got to make sure that you are able to synthesize literature in some form of logical and categorical order. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. I am not looking for something that basically has you reviewing literature by saying such and such said this, then such and such said this, then such and such said this, and there not being any common theme or any actual synthesis of concepts within the literature. In other words, if you're just randomly telling me what different writers said, but not piecing together things into a actual narrative, then you are missing the point of the assignment. And if you have not done any of the readings, including the readings for this class, but also readings for other classes, then you may not be up on the scholarly process. And I am going to ask you to go back and read some of those scholarly articles if you have not read them like you're supposed to, because those are articles that show you literature reviews and how literature reviews should be. Now, also, you can Google how to write a literature review, and you will get tons of examples. Plus, as you will see, there are also some resources in the assignment prompt, or the guidelines, I should say. Now, you also have a rubric, so I don't want anyone to claim any surprise as far as they didn't know they were going to be graded on this or that. I grade according to the rubric, and the rubric is here, so there should be no mystery as far as what I will and will not be looking for. All right, so that is pretty much it for that. In the remaining time, I've got 4 minutes, I will just show you all a couple of things that are at least in some way relevant to what we are looking at or exploring for this week in the discussion posts and in the readings. But all of these will be optional, so it'll be up to you if you want to look over these things or not. However, I thought they might be things that would be interesting to you. Let's look at the first. The first is a blog post that was actually written today, posted today, I should say, June the 29th, 2020, and it is from a student at UMD. So one thing that I wanted to do was kind of give you all an opportunity to read something that had been written by another student so that you can kind of see what students are producing and, you know, kind of get a feel for what you might be wanting to pay attention to as you try to get into this field of LIS. So you will see in the readings for this week some things about effective communication, about stereotypes, about all of these different things. And so when we talk about effective communication, part of effective communication is making sure that our resources are classified in ways that diverse sets of users will understand and know how to access these materials. And the well, let me just say, classification has been very, well, American and English classification and Canadian classification has been very Eurocentric over the years. And so this particular, I would call it a blog post from Hack Library School. This particular post is talking about the results and how that manifests today, and how, in order to facilitate better access, we may need to be more sensitive as far as information seeking habits, behaviors, terminologies, etc., used by people who may not approach life by such a Eurocentric framing. So if you're interested in wearing this, I said that because it says wear a mask down here. By the way, yes, trans lives matter, the lives of non-binary people matter, and yes, Black lives matter, and the lives of all races matter, but I am still going to say Black lives matter, and trans lives matter, and women's lives matter. Okay, now, all of that being said, if you want to read this, just Google Hack Library School, the racist problem with library subject classifications. Let me get to my second thing that I wanted to show real quick, and I am almost running out of time. So we are almost at 10 minutes already. The time flies, so I'll just have to give these more casual mention. But the state of Alabama, and for those of you who haven't seen this behavior out of me in other classes that I teach, I am a Southerner. I am from North Carolina. I also spent years living in South Carolina and in Virginia. And so I will say that I am always interested in what's going on in the South. And just last week, the archives for the state of Alabama noted that they were portraying a vision of history that minimalized the importance of Black and indigenous voices in Alabama and favored Confederate narratives. I'm going to, especially just in case anyone here is from Alabama or has special ties to Alabama or anything, I am just going to say that this is probably not unique to Alabama whatsoever, but it does affect, when we talk about history of libraries, history of archives and cultural centers, these sorts of biases really do affect how the narrative is taught in K-12 and through other things. So This is something that is nice to see the state of Alabama admit, but it is just the first step to admit you have a problem. Now there's work to do to correct the past problems in the past issues. We are at 10 minutes, so I am going to have to go through this very quickly to make sure we at least keep it under 11 minutes. Finally, this was an old webinar that you can find. By the way, if you wanted to read about the Alabama issue, you can take the title here, just plug it in the Google News, and this article will come up, as well as some others, because several news outlets picked this up. Finally, yes, there was a webinar years ago. Well, I say years ago, it was just 2015, I believe. Yeah, 15. I know it says 16 there, but it was 2015. In 2015, there was a webinar hosted by ALA that required registration and payment that you can now access for free. And it is Strategies for Effective Library Communication. If you are bored, or if you are just looking for a free type of professional development resource, the Strategies for Effective Library Communication may be something you want to look at. However, I will admit I have not looked at it myself. I've heard about this webinar, which is why I knew it existed, but I have not had the time to spare to look at it. I guess over the course of 4 years, maybe I have, but I've had to prioritize other things. So having said that, goodness, I have gone over 11 minutes, but I will not approach 12. We are going to hang this up as soon as I tell you how to find this webinar, and the way to find it would be to, if you can see this link, plug it in, or if you cannot see that, then look on YouTube for Strategies for Effective Library Communication, and this should come up. So with that said, that is my time. I am Dr. Jace. Peace and grace, and please stay safe. I love you all. Take care. Bye.